Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Thanks for joining me here today. Today marks the day that we start a brand new series for Diecast Graveyard, and we're going to call it Mainline Madness. Now, the whole purpose of Mainline Madness is to take a car off the shelf at, say, Walmart or Walgreens or Target or wherever you buy your Hot Wheels cars, even a flea market. But to take a mainline car and on a budget or something incredibly easy, show you how to customize a car and have some fun with it. Today we've got this mainline Chevy Love pickup. Now this is a pretty cool truck. Now, takes me back a few days, but one of my first vehicles was a Chevy Love pickup truck. Happened to be 4x4. But it was still pretty cool for what we needed. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and drill the car apart. Now these mainline cars, they have a pretty big post in them. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pre-drill out the post just a little bit, just to get past that mushroom flange that's holding the truck together. When you do this, it allows you to, when you drill the mushroom flange or that little lip that's holding on the post, it allows you to remove it without drilling too much of the post away. And I'll show you what I mean there. Now, like I said, you're going to have to drill the post out anyways. You don't want to go too deep, just enough to get past the mushroom flange. Okay, we've done that. Now we're going to go ahead and switch out the drill bits. And I believe this is a 9/64, and this is what we use to take off that little flange that holds the truck together. Now here you want to go a little bit slower. All you're doing is biting into that ring and taking the ring off, just like you see here. Now you know you've taken off enough of that flange in order to get the base off the car. Now repeat the step with the other post, just like you see here. And get that little ring off there. And then you know that you can take the base off the vehicle. Now, if you're fortunate, some vehicles only have one post. This one, of course, happens to have two. Now, you still may have to take a screwdriver to help pry it off. But it'll come off pretty easy. Put your screwdriver in there. Be careful not to bend the wheels, especially if you're going to reuse them. And it'll pop off. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to any future videos that come out. Okay, we got the vehicle apart. Now we're going to have to flatten out the post. Now notice that the post in the back is incredibly short. You got to be careful when you're drilling this out because you don't want to drill a hole through the post and up through the bed of the truck. Just enough to flatten it out. That's good enough there. It's still got a dimple in there, and that's because we pre-drilled that post, remember? Same thing in the front. Go ahead and flatten out that post so you can prepare to put a screw in there. Or at least drill to put a screw in there anyways. That's looking really good. Alright, now it's time to go ahead and drill out the post so we can put a screw in there. Here we're going to put the small drill bit back in. This is a 1/16 inch bit because I'm using the 1-72 screws. The 1/16 bit is what you use in order to drill a hole or a post for these screws. Now you can drill a little bit deeper on the front post because it's a lot longer, but you got to be real careful with that one in the back. Just take your time. Notice how the metal is coming out. Once you see that, stop for a second, clean off your drill bit. It keeps the channel on the drill bits clean so the metal can flow out nicely. Now sometimes you'll hear these things start to squeak. That means your drill bit's getting clogged up. And you don't want to have that happen because then it messes up your drilling and your drill bit and your post and everything else. Just take your time. Alright, we got the front one done. Now we got to do the one at the bottom. Please be careful here. Like I said, these posts are incredibly short. Just take your time. And the best part about these mainline cars is they normally only cost about 99 cents or 94 cents, or depending on where you get them. So if you mess it up really bad, try another one. I would definitely do these main lines before I would start doing any of the old red line cars, especially if you plan on building up your collection or something like that. Because if you destroy a post on a red line car, a lot of times it can be repaired, but if you don't have to do it in the first place, that's the way to go. Just take your time and keep track of how deep you're going. Pull it out occasionally, the drill bit. That's looking good. All right, we're going to tap the post in the front, but the one in the rear, I think we'll think about tapping that one. It's really not that deep, so it's not necessary. But the one in the front, put a little drop of motor oil in there, and using your 1/72 tap, go ahead and screw it in. Now that you're tapping out the post, take it easy. If you start to feel any resistance, back it out, clean it out, and see if you need to go farther. You may be already to the bottom of the post, so be careful. Now we're going to test fit the screw to make sure that you got the drill deep enough or the post deep enough. Nope. Take that back. We're just going to do the rear post. Now since this is so short, you really don't have to tap it. These screws will tap themselves if it's the short ones. If it's the long ones, yeah, you can do it, but once it starts to bind up, you're liable to strip it out, so just be careful. Of course, the front one's been tapped, and that should go all the way to the end of the post, just like you see there. Nice. All right.
I love how the moonlight shines over the mausoleum.
The nice folks at Spray Gunner have come out with their own line of paint, and this is called Chroma Air. Now these paints are airbrush ready. Now, depending on the size of the needle you have in your airbrush, if you have a small needle, you may have to thin it down a little bit in order to get it past that small thin needle. Now, with the particular brush that I use here, I had to thin it down a little bit, so you got to be careful here, okay? If you put it in, it's too thick, it's just going to spit and sputter, and your finish is not going to be that good. We're going to give this truck a nice black base coat on the truck. So that Chroma Air worked pretty good. It sprayed out really nice. I thinned it out a little bit, like I said. And the finishes on these paints are all a satin or like a flat. There's your thinner right there, your reducer. The paints are good. Now, you're going to have to clear coat these in order for them to maintain, what's the word I'm looking for here? To protect them from getting any scratches or anything like that. Now, these paints work really good. I'm very pleased. And I'm looking forward to using some more of the colors. Now, the best part about it is you can mix these colors too. Now that we got the nice black base coat, we're going to use this Tester's iridescent shimmer. And when you spray this, you want to spray it at a little bit of a distance, okay? You put on very, very light coats, and here you'll get your iridescent finish. Now, as you spin this around and let the sunlight hit it, or the light from your lights above your head, it's sparkling with all kinds of rainbow colors. Man, that thing looked beautiful. Now, we're going to do a wheel swap. Notice how long the axles are. So we're going to have to go ahead and chop out some of that axle in order for it to get to fit properly. These wheels are going to be nice. Here's the old wheels, and here's the new ones we're going to put in. So we got to remove approximately that much material in order for it to get the wheels to fit up nice. So just be careful of that there, how much you're taking away. We're going to cut the axle, and then we're going to crimp the ends. You got it in your mind there. Now you can mark it somehow to figure out how much you want to take off. Be careful because these ends will fly when you snip it. There you go. Nice. Make sure your wheels are pointing in the right direction. You don't want your wheel backwards. Now we're going to take these fence pliers. and we're going to pinch the end, and we're going to squeeze it. Now the tires fit perfect. Those are nice. Some people will just cut them off and use a little bead or something glued into place. I haven't tried that yet. It looks cool, but I just haven't tried that yet. Here we're going to chrome up the engine a little bit. I just put a piece of tape on there, and we're using a Molotow chrome pen. These pens probably are the best looking chrome on the market today, at least in my experience anyways. There may be more, like they got the chrome paint that you can use from Createx or like that, but these pens are just so much quicker. I put that tape on there just to make sure I didn't get any on the interior, which I would have had this and not put that tape in place. Let that tape sticks to itself, man. It's like they ought to make body armor out of that stuff. Okay. That looks pretty cool. Well, now we got to let that dry. Here we got the windshield and the T-top. It got a little bit scratched somehow, so we're going to go ahead and polish it up with this Meguiar's Plastex polish. Put a little bit on a soft cloth. Put your plastic on there, rub it back and forth, and then take your cloth and rub it down and polish it down. Do that as many times as you see necessary. And also, if you really have to, you can always polish it up and dip it in the gauzy, which I think we're going to do with this one anyways. Just go ahead and polish it down, try and get out as many of the scratches as you can. You may even have to take it down with a little bit of sandpaper. That's looking good too, but I think we're going to have to go with the gauzy. So let's go ahead and move on. Here we've got the gauzy. Go ahead and let's mix it up. Now just flip the jar just like you see me doing here, and do it slow because you don't want to get a lot of bubbles in there. Those bubbles will transfer onto your plastic windshield. Now you want the finish to be nice and smooth, and if it's full of a lot of bubbles and they dry, your windshield's going to have a lot of bubbles on it. Ask me, I know. And there's your tip today from your Uncle Paulie. Go ahead and find a place if you can that is not going to show from your car. Dip it in the gauzy. Let it drip off as much as you can. And then you want to wick away the excess on a paper towel. I've cut a paper towel to fit into this little ring here, this little lid. And then set it down there once you've got as much of it off as you possibly can. That looks good. And then cover it up with a plastic lid to keep the dust bunnies off there. Set it off to the side to dry. It'll dry in about an hour, but I like to let it sit a few 8 hours, maybe even overnight. Okay, here we've got the truck. Now that we got that iridescent shimmer on there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to clear coat it. Now it's been clear coated. Look at that. That is pretty. Man, that's nice. And it's real easy to do, and it's not that expensive.
Meanwhile, back in the graveyard.
Here we've got all of our parts. We got the Chevy Love pickup with the black base and the iridescent shimmer, and we clear coated it. That looks really nice. I'm really happy with that paint job. And it was really easy to do. You could spray the black with a rattle can, and then the tester's paint is a rattle can. We did a wheel swap. Here we're gonna detail the headlights and the taillights on the truck. The windshield looks great. It was done with the gauzy. Let's go ahead and put things together and do our reveal. And this is what we started with. This Mainline Chevy Love pickup truck. Now this is a pretty cool truck. Now if you don't happen to have a nice set of wheels, even if you find some wheels off one of the $5 cars at Walmart with the real riders, pick yourself up one of those if you want to make something cool. And you don't have to wait for the mailman to bring your package from Malaysia or whatever like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I buy a lot of tires from those guys overseas. But sometimes they take too long and they're just a little bit on the expensive side. This way here, if you want some real riders, Buy them at Walmart off the more expensive cars, like your Fast and Furious cars, or your specialty cars like your Walt Disney cars and your Star Wars cars and stuff like that. It's good stuff, and you can pick up a set of Real Riders for $5. It's a really good deal, guys. I really had a lot of fun doing this truck. Look at all those scratches that we took out of that windshield. And this is what we got to. We detailed the taillights. We detailed the headlights and the grille with the little Chevy emblem there. Look at the iridescent paint. Look at the color that is coming off that. And I got that can of iridescent paint at Hobby Lobby. Now, I also have an Amazon storefront page where you can find all this stuff, so you don't have to go searching for it. I'll leave a link in the comments to that page. But check out my Diecast Graveyard Amazon storefront page. A lot of stuff in there, like airbrushes and paints and all the tools that we use in order to do these restorations and customizations. Now, I only make a few pennies off these sales, but you know what? It helps you out because you don't have to go looking for the stuff, and I make a nickel here and there, and hey, that means everybody's happy. But it was a lot of fun making this truck, and it really didn't cost that much and take that much time. Except for the drying time of the clear coat, I made this truck in a day. A whole day. That was a lot of fun. I want to thank my Patreon subscribers. Guys, I couldn't do this stuff without my Patreon subscribers. For the small fee that they give every month, the subscription fee, I use that to buy my supplies. I buy my paints, and I buy my my decal materials and all the other stuff that I use on these pages. But check it out and become a member of the Diecast Graveyard team. We do build-offs, we do giveaways, we do all kinds of stuff, and I do one-on-ones with the guys that are on the page so I can help them with their customizations too. So please check out the Diecast Graveyard team. My name is Paul from Diecast Graveyard. I want to thank you for joining me here today. If you got a comment, please give it a thumbs up. If you give it a thumbs down, just tell me what you don't like about it so I can improve my videos. These are here for you. And my name is Paul. Have a great day.